You're 10 years old, walking through a muddy medieval market, when a stranger buys you from your mother. You don't know it yet, but your life ends today, and a new one begins inside a bathhouse that smells like steam, sweat, and fear. It happens so fast you can barely process it. You're holding on to your mother's hand, navigating the crowded town square. The air is thick with the smell of livestock and rotting vegetables. A woman, whose face is hardened by years of managing others, stops your mother. Their conversation is a blur of hushed words and gestures you don't understand. A few coins are pressed into your mother's palm, and then her hand is gone from yours. The woman's grip on your arm is like iron. You're led away through winding alleys, your feet stumbling over loose cobblestones. You don't dare to look back. The building she takes you to is dark and imposing, its entrance a gaping mouth that swallows you whole. Inside, the stench hits you like a physical blow. A mix of wet, decaying straw, acrid smoke from a poorly vented fire, the sour tongue of spilled wine, and the inescapable odor of unwashed bodies. A keeper, perhaps the same woman who bought you, lays down the rules in a voice devoid of any warmth. "You do not leave this building without permission," she says, her eyes cold and assessing. "You sleep where you are told. You obey every order, or you will be punished. There is no room for questions, no chance for argument." Your new reality is being spelled out with chilling finality. That night, you're shown to your room. It's not a room at all, but a dark, drafty corner next to the firewood pile. Your bed is a thin straw mat laid directly on the damp earth floor, and your only comfort is a single scratchy blanket. There is no window, no door, only the looming shadows cast by the flickering torchlight in the main hall. Your training begins the very next morning, before the sun has even risen. There is no gentle introduction, no period of adjustment. Your life is now an endless cycle of grueling labor. You carry heavy wooden buckets of steaming hot water from the cauldrons to the bathing tubs, your small arms straining and your skin raw from the sloshing liquid. You spend hours on your hands and knees, scrubbing the grime and filth from the wooden benches and floors with a stiff-bristled brush until your fingers are numb. You are tasked with cleaning the chamber pots, the stench of human waste clinging to your clothes and hair long after the job is done. You collect mountains of dirty, damp towels, heavy with the sweat and oils of countless patrons. And through the night, when the bathhouse is at its busiest, you are sent to the furnace room. Your job is to feed wood into the roaring fire, the intense heat scorching your face, while the rest of your body shivers from the cold seeping through the stone walls. The noise is a constant, unrelenting assault on your senses. It never stops. The day is filled with the shouts of bathers, the hacking coughs of the sick who come seeking relief, the booming, drunken laughter of wealthy patrons, and the endless splashing of water. Arguments break out over gambling debts or perceived insults. Through the thin wooden walls of the private rooms, you hear moans and cries that you don't fully understand, but which fill you with a deep, unsettling fear. The soundscape of the bathhouse is a chaotic symphony of human vice and misery, and there is no escaping it. The older workers, boys and girls with eyes that look far too old for their years, offer you terse advice. "Keep your eyes on the floor," one whispers as you pass in a corridor. "Keep your mouth shut," another hisses when you almost speak out of turn. "Keep your face blank. Don't let them see what you're thinking." You learn to become invisible, a ghost haunting the edges of the chaos. You master the art of scrubbing floors while skillfully avoiding the heavy, mud-caked boots of drunk nobles who stumble through the halls, ready to kick anything or anyone in their path. You learn to anticipate needs before they are spoken, to fetch more wine or a fresh towel without being asked, because being noticed is dangerous. As months bleed into years, you begin to notice the cracks in the routine, the hidden patterns of this self-contained world. You learn which of the guards are prone to sudden acts of cruelty and which ones can be avoided. You learn to recognize the faces of the most dangerous customers, the ones with violent tempers or cruel appetites, and make yourself scarce when they arrive. You see the sickness that spreads through the workers, the pale faces and persistent coughs that the keeper ignores. You learn which doors stick, which floorboards creak, and where the shadows are deepest. These small details become your secret knowledge, a map of the prison you inhabit. The thought of escape begins to flicker in your mind, a tiny, defiant flame in the darkness. You start to imagine a life beyond these suffocating walls, a world where the air doesn't smell of sweat and fear. But the bathhouse feels like a fortress with no exits. The doors are barred, the windows are high and small, and the guards are always watching. The town you were taken from feels like a distant dream, a memory so faded it might as well belong to someone else. The bathhouse is your entire world now, a place of endless labor and quiet dread. You clean, you scrub, you carry, you obey. But the older you get, the more you see the keeper watching you. There's a job in this bathhouse worse than all the others, and soon it'll be yours. You're 15 now, old enough to do the job everyone fears. The bathhouse no longer smells like just steam and soap. It smells like danger. Years of scalding water, harsh lye soap, and back-breaking work have hardened your hands into rough, calloused tools. Your shoulders ache with a permanent, dull throb, a constant reminder of the endless buckets of water you've hauled and the countless floors you've scrubbed on your hands and knees. You've become a part of the bathhouse's machinery, another cog in its relentless steaming operation. You've learned to read the rhythm of this place with a sixth sense born of fear and repetition. The world outside is a distant memory, a faint story someone once told you. Your entire universe is now contained within these damp, mold-streaked walls. You can tell what kind of night it will be just by the sound of a customer's footsteps on the wet floorboards. A heavy, shuffling gait might mean a tired merchant looking for a quiet soak. Loud, confident stomps often belong to a group of soldiers, their voices booming with boasts and crude jokes that echo off the tiles. You can even read the air. The faint scent of leather and road dust signals a traveler, while the cloying aroma of cheap perfume and wine warns of a long, difficult night with a demanding patron. Your duties have slowly shifted as you've gotten older. The endless scrubbing and hauling of water haven't stopped, but now you are expected to serve. The keeper pushes you out from the cleaning areas and into the main halls where the customers gather. You learn to pour ale and wine with a steady hand, even when your own is trembling. You're instructed to assist customers in the private steam rooms, where the air is thick and heavy, making it hard to breathe. The work is no longer just about cleaning. It's about being seen, about being available, about navigating the unpredictable desires of the men who pay for their comfort. You quickly learn that the customers fall into different categories. Some are harmless, older men who barely seem to notice you as they soak in the hot tubs, lost in their own thoughts. They are the easiest, the ones you pray for. But most are rough, their hands quick to grab and their words sharp and demeaning. They see you as nothing more than part of the service, an object to be used like a towel or a bar of soap. And then there are the ones who are truly dangerous. You can see it in their eyes, a coldness, a cruelty that the steam and heat cannot touch. Their smiles don't reach their eyes, and their requests are always laced with a threat. These are the nights you dread, the encounters that leave you shaking in the dark on your thin straw mat. The older workers, the ones who have survived this place for years, become your silent teachers. They don't offer comfort or kindness. Those emotions were scrubbed out of them long ago. Instead, they pass down the brutal, practical tricks of survival in hushed whispers when the keeper is out of earshot. You learn to swap customers, a quick, almost invisible exchange of glances with another worker when you sense danger in a man's voice or touch. You learn how to feign a sudden illness, a coughing fit, a wave of dizziness to buy yourself a few precious moments of rest or to escape a particularly threatening situation. You learn how to hide the bruises, positioning yourself in the steam so the shadows conceal the marks on your arms, and how to keep a neutral, empty expression on your face no matter what happens. Above all, you learn the most important rule: keep the keeper calm at all costs. An angry keeper means punishments for everyone, and their wrath is often more fearsome than that of any customer. The bathhouse has its own unique, suffocating smell, a thick cocktail of old, stagnant water, sheep, acrid soap, and the ever-present dampness of moldy wood. But layered over it all is the intimate, unavoidable scent of countless human bodies. The smell of sweat, of unwashed hair, of damp skin, and of sickness. It's a smell that clings to your clothes, your hair, and your skin, a smell you can never wash away. It follows you into your restless sleep and is the first thing you notice when you wake. Many of the workers get sick. The constant dampness and poor sanitation breed illness. Coughs begin that never seem to stop, echoing through the sleeping quarters at night. Fevers sweep through the workers, leaving them weak and shivering, but they are still forced to work until they physically collapse. The keeper sees sickness not as a tragedy, but as an inconvenience, a flaw in the workforce. Punishments for any infraction, spilling a drink, talking back, or being too slow, are swift and brutal. The keeper might force you into a tub of freezing water until your body goes numb and your teeth chatter uncontrollably. Beatings with a thick wooden rod are common, leaving deep bruises that ache for weeks. Sometimes the punishment is being locked in a dark, cold storage room for a day or more, with no food and only the sound of scurrying rats for company. Days without food are another tool to enforce obedience, leaving you weak and lightheaded, making the hard labor even more torturous. You learn to endure, to make your body small and your presence insignificant. But even in this hopeless place, your mind starts to notice things. You see the small weaknesses in the bathhouse's rigid routine. You notice that the guards, hired to keep the workers in and intruders out, often get drunk on the job, their laughter growing louder and their attention wandering as the night wears on. You observe that the delivery carts, bringing supplies, firewood, soap, and barrels of ale, sometimes arrive late at night, creating a brief moment of chaos and distraction at the back entrance. You start testing the doors and find that some of the latches don't always catch fully, especially on humid nights when the wood swells. These small details, these tiny cracks in the walls of your prison, begin to plant a dangerous seed in your mind. You start dreaming of freedom. It's a vague, formless dream, as you have not seen the world outside in years and can barely remember what the sun feels like on your face or what fresh air smells like. But the dream is persistent. It's a fantasy of walking down a street without being watched, of sleeping without hearing footsteps in the hall, of simply being left alone. The dream grows from a faint whisper to a roaring fire in your heart, a desperate, terrifying hope that you might one day escape. One night, you decide to run. Your heart pounds against your ribs like a trapped bird. You wait until you hear the familiar, slurred speech of the drunken guards. A delivery has just been made, and the back gate was left unlatched for a moment too long. This is your chance. Slipping through the shadows, your bare feet silent on the cold stone, you make it to the door. You push it open. A blast of cool, clean night air hits you. It smells of rain and earth, so different from the suffocating stench of the bathhouse. For a single breathtaking second, you are outside. You are caught. Before you can take more than a few steps, a hand grabs your hair, yanking you back with brutal force. The escape is over before it truly began. The beating that follows is worse than any you have ever received. It's methodical, meant not just to cause pain, but to shatter your spirit. And it works. When they finally throw you back onto your straw mat, something inside you is broken, not just a bone, but your hope. The dream of freedom dies, and a hollow emptiness takes its place. You keep working. You have to. You move through the days like a ghost, your body performing the familiar tasks automatically while your mind remains vacant. You get sick, a deep, rattling cough that shakes your entire frame, but you don't stop. You haul the water, you scrub the floors, you serve the drinks, you endure the customers. You work through the fever, through the dizziness, through the pain, until your body, pushed far beyond its limits, finally gives up. Your death is quiet, almost unnoticeable. One morning, you simply do not wake up. There is no ceremony, no moment of silence. No one stops working. No one remembers your name or the color of your eyes. Your body is removed with the same detached efficiency as a pile of dirty laundry. The world outside, the one you dreamed of for so long, never learns you existed. You give the bathhouse everything: your strength, your youth, your breath. And when you finally collapse, the world outside never learns your name. Another worker takes your mat. The furnace keeps burning, and the bathhouse goes on, like you were never there.